Listen up, man. Let's get straight into it. You read the title, right? Obsessing about how much semen you've retained is borderline psychotic. Yes, sir. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Listen up, my guy. Over obsessing about how much semen you've retained, about how many days that you've been on SR is borderline psychotic ass behavior, my boy. And you might be wondering, okay, man, what the hell does that even mean, bro? I thought the longer you retain, the more semen that you got stored up in your ball sack, the better this practice becomes. Now you're telling me that this is borderline psychotic ass behavior. Well, make that make sense. Relax. Relax. Relax, my guy. I'm gonna need you to just take a deep breath. Come on, do it with me. Get yourself grounded because it's time for your boy to break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. So first things first, what you must come to understand along this journey that we call life is that you, yes you motherfucker, have been born into compulsion. Let that marinate into your motherfucking mind. Let that sink into your psyche, my guy. You have been born into a state of compulsion. Now, you might be wondering, what does that even mean, bro? So you see, your consciousness has been spawned into this reality within a state of being a slave to the material world. And one of the clear examples of this is being a slave to your sexual impulses. Whenever you feel horny, whenever you feel urges, you have your consciousness essentially hijacked by your five senses to the point where you have to go release, where you cannot control your actions, better yet, your reactions to these energetic impulses. Just because you're horny does not mean you have to release. Just because you're hungry does not mean you have to eat. Just because you're angry does not mean you have to go punch that guy in the face. But most people are not in control of their actions. Most people are not in control of those reactions. They're a slave to the material world because they are a slave to themselves. The material world sends impulses, sends signals to the senses, and the senses react to that. For the majority of people out there, the way that their senses react is the way that their life will go. They have no say. Their consciousness has no say. Whatever the brain and body feel, they do. They don't have a conscious ability to control, sit back and analyze these types of impulses coming to them and choose the right decision on what they believe is the right move. They're stuck in the passenger seat of life. They're not in the driver's seat of life. And the car that we're talking about is your own brain and body. You're a passenger to your own brain and body. They are your brain and body is basically a prison for you right now. You're born into that state. That's why I dropped a video not too long ago that every man is born as a slave to himself. This is what I mean. But there are certain things that you can do to override these compulsions, to overcome these compulsions. Semen retention is one of those practices, is one of those disciplines. Whatever anybody else has told you that semen retention is about, oh man, if you retain for X amount of days, girls will come to you. Oh man, if you retain for Y amount of days, you'll become just some guy that starts glowing. If you retain for Z amount of days, you start to manifest everything. All that stuff is BS, bro. All that stuff is absolute new age bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Am I saying that the benefits are bullshit? No. Am I saying that, you might get magnetic is bullshit? No. But to say that that is the reason you practice SR is pathetic. Quite frankly, it's for fucking losers. Because the whole point of this practice, you have to realize that this isn't something that just got invented by all these self-improvement YouTubers. This is an ancient discipline that was used in all these spiritual philosophies all across the globe, all throughout human history, as a tool for mankind to transcend beyond that specific compulsion of sexuality. You see, sexual compulsions are one of the strongest, if not the strongest compulsion that you have aside from survival. Aside from just eating food for sustenance so you don't die, that this physical body does not die, water, shelter, all that stuff, the next strongest compulsion to that is pleasure, and the most magnified version of that pleasure that you seek after, that your consciousness is a slave to, is sexuality. You see, sex is not a bad thing. Sexual energy is not a bad thing. A lot of these people also will tell you you must battle against lust, battle against your own libido. I'm here to tell you right now, unless you cut off your dick and balls, you're gonna have urges. But the whole point of semen retention and celibacy is not to be a slave to these urges. Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? And you have to realize that's the ultimate goal of this practice, of this discipline, to override your compulsions. The urges are gonna be there. Look, man, if you're healthy, you're gonna have urges. You're gonna have these energetic impulses. That, oh man, that girl is hot as fuck. That looks really nice. I wish I could do X, Y, Z. But if you consciously don't want to indulge or engage in it, you have the ability to say no, because you're not a slave to it. Some of you guys may know about the practice of fasting, aka not eating or drinking. You see, when you fast, are you trying to get rid of the hunger impulse? No, you're trying to control your reaction to it. That your stomach might be growling. You might be licking your lips because you're thirsty. But you're not choosing to engage in drinking or eating due to the fact that you have made that decision for yourself. You're not letting the body or brain make that decision for you. You're the one in the driver's seat. You're the one driving the car. The body and brain no longer just follow the programming of the compulsions. You take back control. But do you see how I'm saying that we're not trying to get rid of hunger itself? That's why when we practice semen retention, I say we're not trying to eliminate lust itself. You just view your libido as lust because you're a slave to it. Libido is amazing. Having sex drive is amazing. It's beautiful. It's something that you should embrace. You shouldn't be wanting to kill your libido, kill your sex drive, because you're a slave to pornography, a slave to sex. You should be learning how to tame it. You see, you have this tiger that you're chained to. And that tiger, if it's not tamed, if it's not trained, will attack your motherfucking brain. You dig what I'm saying? That's a bar, write it down. But when you learn how to tame that tiger, you can learn how to ride that tiger. And now, as you ride the tiger, you can use those same things that were once attacking you as allies to ascend. You don't try to get rid of the tiger, you're chained to the tiger. When you were born, you're chained to this tiger of compulsions, of the brain and of the body. Until you are here in this material form, you will be chained to that tiger. So might as well learn how to tame that tiger. And one of the ways that you tame the sexual aspect of this quote-unquote tiger is through the practice of semen retention and celibacy. What you are doing when you practice semen retention, when you practice celibacy, is that you are doing an austerity, aka an act of renunciation. What do I mean by that? An austerity, an act of renunciation, is where you willingly give up attachment. You practice asceticism, not aestheticism, not like, oh man, you're so aesthetic. Asceticism, where you disengage from that compulsion by completely saying no to it, by abstaining from it. Fasting is an austerity and a form of renunciation. You completely disengage from eating. You completely disengage from drinking. And as you do that, the compulsions start to lose its grip over your consciousness. It starts to lose its power over pulling you in whatever direction it wants. That tiger now is starting to become tamed. Right now, when you're chained to the tiger, whatever the tiger wants to do, you're a slave to it. If it pulls you this way, you have to get pulled that way. If it pulls you the other way, you have to go with it. Just because these compulsions come about, you have to go with it. I did not want to engage in releasing my seed, but my dick and balls said it's time to go, and I'm a slave to it. And I get hijacked, and that's why you feel shame. That's why you feel guilt. I'm gonna let you know right now, the guilt and shame that you feel after, watching pornography, after, chasing these girls, just lusting, is not due to the fact that it's pornography. I don't think pornography is a quote unquote evil thing, but I don't think it's also something that is productive, that is essentially allowing you to ascend. I don't view it as evil. I do not view it as evil. Why you might view it as evil, it's all stemming from the fact that every time you go onto this site, every time you engage into this, what's happening deep down in your subconscious is that you're affirming that you're a slave to your senses. And that pathetic feeling makes you shameful of yourself. I didn't choose to watch pornography, but I'm a slave to it. I didn't choose to go swipe on Tinder, but I'm a slave to it. That's the dread that you feel, is when you have no control. The same people that are eating all this food all the time, that are overweight and obese, they're shameful not because of the food, it's because they have no control over it. When you have access to control over this compulsion, you don't view food as bad. Even junk food, you don't view it as bad. You can take some of that poison and not be addicted to it. You can watch pornography and not get addicted to it. If you want to go watch it, you don't have to feel the shame anymore, the guilt anymore. I'm not saying for you to go do that right now, but let's say you did want to watch it for whatever fucking reason. You wouldn't have the shame or guilt tied along with it if you were consciously choosing to indulge in it. You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't have shame and guilt if you eat some fucking ice cream, if you consciously chose to engage within it. But some people might be, okay, so I can watch pornography right now, this and that. No, you're stuck in compulsion. What you must do right now is to go from compulsion to complete renunciation. You must go to the point where you have zero desire to watch pornography, zero desire to want to go have sex, not in a sense that you biologically can't. Biologically, again, you will have these desires, but you consciously have the ability to be like, I'm not dependent on getting dopamine from this activity anymore. I have no reason to do it. I'm the same with or without it. Right now, why you are so engaged within it, because it is a way for you to get dopamine. And that dopamine rush gives you this feeling, this sense of being alive. It's satisfying for your senses. And again, if you're a slave to your senses, guess what? All you're gonna do is try to satisfy them. But when you disengage and you remove attachment to these compulsions, you move further and further away from your sensual nature. And what do you get closer and closer to? Your subtle spiritual nature. Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? That's the goal of semen retention. And I'm gonna let you know right now, right at this very moment, it does not matter how many days you've retained if you don't make that shift of consciousness. You could be on 1,000,000 days of semen retention, but all you're doing is repressing your energy and not actually overcoming that compulsion, because you're still having this thought within your head, oh man, if I retain for 1,000,000,000 days, every girl in the world is gonna like me. You see how where your mind and consciousness is still engaged in? It still is dependent on sexuality to get dopamine because you're a slave to your senses. Over obsessing about how much semen you've stored up in your fucking ball sack is borderline psychotic ass behavior, bro. And this is what a lot of people, unfortunately, get brainwashed into when they watch all these content creators out here talk about semen retention. I'm gonna let you know right now, most of them have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. If you view it in the manner that I do, as an ancient discipline, not just some self-improvement habit. You see, when you view it in the lens of self-improvement, you view this as a habit that you do for X amount of days to get X amount of rewards and results. I don't give a fuck about how many days I go on this practice. I've been retaining for 5 years right now. And I don't give a damn about whatever year that I'm on, day that I'm on. I do not give a damn because I've understood, better yet understood, what this practice is about. I care about overcoming that compulsion to the point where I am completely mastered of my sexual chakra, of my svadhisthana, of my sexual nature. I'm no longer a slave to it whatsoever. I can engage in it whenever I want, but I can completely disengage from it whenever I want. Think about it like this. If you're someone that smokes weed, but you're dependent on the weed, aka every time you come back home from work, you need to roll up a joint, you need to spark up a blunt to be able to go to sleep. You're dependent on that substance to give you this specific effect. You cannot tap into that state of consciousness, because that's what smoking weed does. It alters your consciousness. You cannot tap into that state without it. You see, your natural state is down here. The weed gets you up here. You cannot access that state of consciousness without the weed. So you go up, come down, up, down, up, down. You're naturally rooted here. But you can get to the point where you develop yourself through renunciation, through other practices, where your consciousness, it takes longer, naturally roots itself up in that plane of consciousness without the need for weed. So when you smoke weed, it doesn't make a difference. You know you can get to that floor of the elevator yourself. You can walk up the stairs. You're not dependent on the elevator. Imagine you go to a hotel, imagine you go to your apartment complex and the elevator doesn't work. Some people, they're so dependent on the elevator, they're gonna be like, what the fuck, well, what do I do now? You have to wait for the elevator to get ready and get worked on for you to get back to that floor. But you don't even know how you can get up the stairs. Sexuality is the same thing. You don't know how to get that euphoric feeling within yourself without releasing your seed. But I'm telling you right now, you can access that state simply by renouncing this activity. What you are trying to do at the end of the day of this practice, through celibacy, through semen retention, is to take back control of your consciousness. Also, along with that, your sexual energy is a potent force of prana. It is a powerful source of energy. It is a cosmic force. It is a creative source of energy. So whenever you keep indulging it, you just compulsively are a slave to releasing your seed. You are leaking life force energy, which could be used as a tool to, again, get your consciousness from this point, this plane, to the next plane. You need power, you need prana to shift into another state. That power and prana that you harness is from abstaining, is from semen retention. The actual act of retaining your life force, not engaging it, but how you take that energy and ascend it to the point where your consciousness shifts takes a whole different approach. That's just one part of the equation that a lot of people get stuck on. They have all this energy built up, but they're not sublimating or transmuting that energy. And when I say transmuting that energy, there's many ways you can transmute it. You can transmute on the physical, you can transmute on the mental, you can transmute on the spiritual. A lot of people miss the spiritual. They are using this energy to go work out, all that stuff, great, awesome, beautiful. They're using this energy to go create the business, this and that. That's awesome, that's beautiful. That's the brain and body. But what about the spiritual? are you practicing your sadhanas? Sadhanas means spiritual practices, aka your yoga. And I'm not talking about yoga just stretching. I'm talking about unifying your consciousness, ascending up the spine, the Kundalini awakening. Semen retention gives you prana. You can draw and generate prana from many different sources. But your sexual prana is a very strong force of prana. That's why they put pornography out in front of you. That's why they push hookup culture around you. Again, sex is not bad, but they know if you remain a slave to sex, you are siphoning away this super potent force of prana that could be used to shift your consciousness from slavery back to sovereignty. A lot of people, when they talk about semen retention, do not get this deep. It's very surface level. It's very surface level because they're looking at it from the lens of self-improvement. If I do X, then I'll get Y. If I do A, then I'll get B. If I retain for this many days, I'll get this many girls. If I retain for A, this many days, then I'll get this glow. That's not what we're doing it for. Just because you got the glow, just because you got the girls, does not mean that you are still, that does not mean that you are not a slave to your sexuality. You're still on the same fucking floor of the apartment complex. You didn't make any progress. You haven't gone up any flight of stairs. So what does it matter? This is why I'm telling you, man, forget about any days, forget about how much semen you've retained. If you are one of those people that watch these videos, comment down below, day 160, day 90, stop doing that shit, bro. What the fuck's wrong with you? I don't blame you because a lot of these other people's brainwash you into believing that. But I'm telling you right now, throw that out the garbage because it don't matter if it's 8 weeks or 8 months. Some people might magically break free from compulsion in 8 weeks. I don't think that's possible, but it might be possible. Some people might take them 8 months. For some people, it might take them 8 years. What does it matter? If I guaranteed you that you're going to make $1 million, you're going to be financially free if you keep working on this thing, but you won't know exactly when it happens. Are you willing to do it? Are you willing to work on that? You're guaranteed to never need money ever again in your entire life. But you don't know if it's going to take you 8 months, 8 years, 80 years. I know these are extreme examples, but are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? If I guaranteed you liberation financially by doing this practice in this manner, this work in this manner, you will guarantee yourself financial liberation. Would you be willing to do it? Or are you obsessing about how much money you got stored up, how much money that you're making, how many days that you've been working? Are you going to over-obsess about that or completely let it go and focus on the present moment? And inevitably, when the time comes about, you will achieve financial liberation. Over-obsessing won't get you to liberation, just like how over-obsessing about how many days you haven't touched your meat, how many days you haven't played with your penis, how many days you haven't stroked your schlong, how many days you haven't wanked your wiener. Over-obsessing about that will never get you to the point of what I'm saying, liberation from that sexual compulsion, overriding that impulse. It will not, because guess what? The more that you think about the days, the more that you are reinforcing within your mind that you are a slave to this. Because now this becomes your end goal in life. How many days can I retain my seed? I'm telling you right now, your sexual fluid has innate properties within it that is reabsorbed back into the body, 100%. Biologically speaking, yes. But the most important aspect of this practice is not the biological shift. It's not even the psychological shift. It is the conscious and spiritual shift that you make. This is what the ancient teachings bring to us. This is what they were focused on. They said if you focus on this, instead of how many days, instead of how much glow that you have, instead of thinking about how much semen stored up in your nutsack. Okay, there is, 640 milliliters of seminal fluid in my nutsack. I should be able to access this benefit now. Like, throw all that in the garbage, bro. If you focus on you being able to renounce and that karma slowly starting to loosen its grip over your consciousness, all the other shit will come about. You will feel the glow. You will feel all the other benefits. But now the most potent benefit is access, aka liberation. Liberation to the point where you are able to indulge or renounce sexuality whenever you want. You can go on a fast whenever you want. You can stop smoking weed whenever you want, but you can smoke weed whenever you want. You can eat as much food whenever you want because you are not constrained to that compulsion. That's what we are trying to aim for. That's what we are trying to access when we follow the ancient route of how this practice of semen retention celibacy is supposed to be. Do you see what I'm saying? Hitting the 90-day mark, if you're just repressing yourself, it's not even worth it. Hitting the 9-month mark, if you're just repressing yourself, is not even worth it. Don't comment down below how many days you're on. Don't comment down below how long your streak is. Don't comment down below how much, milliliters of seminal fluid you have within your nuts. That shit don't matter. It's the shift that really matters. And that shift happens, of course, when you renounce. And that energy, that prana, is no longer leaking. And now when you have that prana harnessed, you can use it to access higher planes of consciousness. And the reason why you become aloof to these impulses is because you discover something deeper, something better, something more tasty than that dopamine that you get from release, from junk food, from mindless entertainment. All these things are out there in the world that is produced by the matrix, the Maya, the illusion, society as a whole, to make sure that you always leak your life force as you pursue these things. They want to keep you stuck in the cycle of survival, sex, and status, which keeps your consciousness stuck in the lower 3 planes, aka the lower 3 chakras. That is their goal, that is their plan, that is what the propaganda is all pushing you towards. To remain stuck in those states. Because when you remain stuck in those states, your energy is not harnessed enough to be able to propel your consciousness to the next planes. You see, the spine is the analogy that we look at when it comes to yogic traditions. Your consciousness is stuck rooted in the lower planes of the spine, aka the Muladhara chakra, the Svadhisthana chakra, and the Manipura chakra. These are not evil chakras, but when you're stuck there, you only operate about 30% of your potential. You're not able to see the full scope of what life is about and what you are about. One of those leakages is that puncture wound of the leak that all that life force is coming out is due to you being a slave to sexuality. Pornography is making that puncture wound, and hookup culture is making that puncture wound. And now all that life force is leaking. If you have a pipe and there's a leak at one part of it, you can fill up as much water as you want and it'll raise up to that point, but inevitably it's just going to keep leaking. It can never get past that point. Your consciousness can never get past the points of pursuing survival, sex, and status. That's why they want to keep you there, because you remain as an animal with an iPhone. You're just focused on survival, sex, and status. More cars, money, clothes, and hoes. Biceps, bitches, and Bugattis. This is what most people, even when they practice semen retention, stay stuck in. A practice that is designed, an ancient discipline that is designed to propel your consciousness past these realms, is used as a practice to stay stuck in it. How pathetic, how nonsensical. Because most of the people that talk about it should not be talking about it. And I'm not saying, hey man, look at me, I'm the expert. No, what I'm doing is just relaying the information from the past. I'm not making this shit up. The Ascended Masters have left down the blueprint on what it takes for mankind to regain back control over their own consciousness in order to live in alignment to their destiny, to their dharma, to their duty, towards the thing that will bring them the most fulfillment in life. I'm not out here recreating the wheel, and most people are trying to do that. They're trying to make semen retention, an ancient spiritual practice, into a self-improvement habit to just satisfy their surface level needs of what? Survival, sex, and status. Pathetic. It's fucking disgraceful. Disgraceful. A practice that is meant to give you back the power over that leakage. Patch it up so now the water can rise up to the next plane, and the next plane, and the next plane, and the next plane. To access your true potential is not being used as a practice to keep that leak larger than ever before. Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? A lot of buffoons out there talking about this shit. A lot of buffoons. And you can tell it just by looking at their titles, just looking at their content. If it's all about female attraction, if it's all about egotistical things, oh man, people will stare at you when you're on semen retention. Oh, money will manifest to you when you stop masturbating. Oh, when you do this, when all... You can tell right off the bat, this is some new age, buffoons, nerds, geeks, retards. And I'm not trying to bash the individual itself, but they stuck in the retarded brainwashing and they're just vomiting it back out to you people. Vomiting it back out to people. But if you go back to the ancient texts, you go back to this ancient discipline, where it originated from the yogic traditions, you can even see that the word semen retention itself is not even a thing. The word semen retention itself is not even a thing. They call this brahmacharya. What does Brahma mean? God, the absolute, the ultimate reality. Acharya means the path. The path to the ultimate, or what I like to call it, the gateway to godhood. Brahmacharya was not just sexual abstinence. It was the whole process of self-mastery. Sexual abstinence and semen retention, celibacy, was a part of the puzzle, but it wasn't the puzzle itself. That's what I'm saying. It was a practice of renunciation to leak up that patch up that leak of life force energy. But there's many puncture wounds that you have. You have the puncture wound of the lower chakra below the Svadhisthana, the Muladhara, about survival. What's a great way to overcome that? Patch that up. Fasting. You see, there's multiple leaks and puncture wounds that you must patch up. And each one that you patch up is you overcoming that compulsion. And that leakage of energy, awareness, and attention is stopped. All that prana that's being siphoned is stopped. Now you reclaim back the power. And every time you reclaim back the power, that energy builds up to the point to open up the new plane. And your new plane of consciousness, as you ascend up the spine, you go up Jacob's ladder. Each rung gets you closer and closer and closer to something called your dharma, your destiny, your duty. This is what you've been designed by the motherfucking divine to do. Each aspect of renunciation is allowing you to get closer to that dharma as you walk up the mountain of self-mastery that is metaphorically represented by your spine. You go from the lower chakras up to the higher chakras. Again, when you are born, you are spawned into the lower chakras, and there's like a cage. There's a cage, or there's ropes, or there's barbed wire that is acting as a barrier from you to be able to get up to the higher planes. Those barbed wires, those barriers, those chains, that cage is your karmas. When I say karmas, I'm not talking about you do good things will happen to you. You do bad things will happen to you. I'm talking about the attachments that you create to these compulsions. Imagine like this, your consciousness is like a balloon. But you have strings on it coming off that balloon that are tied to cinder blocks. Those cinder blocks are the karmas. And those cinder blocks form and get stronger and heavier the more that you depend on these external things for dopamine. The more that you depend, the more that you engage in pornography, in alcohol, in sex, in drugs, in mindless entertainment, and junk food, the more that you depend on them to get dopamine, the heavier that those cinder blocks become. And that balloon remains stuck there. What you are doing when you practice renunciation in the example of celibacy is taking that string that is tied to the cinder block of sexual compulsion and burning it. Burning it, burning it, burning it to the point that it snaps. You're no longer attached to through sexuality. You're no longer constricted, consciously speaking, to that compulsion. And now, when you burn off the other ones, the balloon can start to ascend, float up the spine. And as it floats up the spine or floats up into the sky, what you get closer and closer to is your dharma, your destiny, the thing that you've been brought here to do that will bring you the most fulfillment in life. Because it doesn't matter how many cars, clothes, or hoes that you have. It doesn't matter even how many days you've retained your seed, how many days you haven't whacked off, how much semen you have stored up in your nutsack. If you do not discover your dharma, you're always going to be living life dependent onto something. That's why some people go from pornography, being an attachment and compulsion, to semen retention, becoming an attachment and compulsion. Pornography, hookups are trying to, again, satisfy the sensual need of sexuality. When you view semen retention in the angle and lens of self-improvement, now you go from one side of the coin to the other side of the coin. You won't go from one side of slavery to the other side of slavery. Now you're addicted and attached to how many days, how long is your streak. But your consciousness is still stuck in that state. You haven't burnt off that string because you are practicing semen retention and celibacy with the hopes of getting glow, of getting magnetism, so you can inevitably do what? Satisfy your sensual urges. You see? You never renounced that. You never overcame that compulsion. First, you were a slave to it in the sense of pornography and chasing sexual pleasures, but now you're repressing it till the point you can inevitably pop and go binge on it. What's the point then? You're still a slave to sexuality. That's why the people that are stuck in that state over obsess and go into a mild psychotic breakdown when they lose their streak. When you lose your streak, when you release your seed, they go into a psychotic breakdown because their identity is attached to that. Their identity is still rooted in the brain and body. If you are super hyper obsessive about the streak and how much semen you got restored within your nuts, your consciousness is still stuck rooted within the lower planes that is associated with just the brain and body. You have not accessed the subtle planes, because once you get to the subtle planes, the spiritual planes, you get closer and closer to your dharma, to your destiny, what you were brought here to do, aka the thing that will nourish your soul. That is what you're yearning for, because no amount of cars, money, clothes, or hoes, no amount of semen retention streaks will truly ever satisfy you. You might stroke your ego, you might just stimulate the senses, but you're always going to need more. That's why you want longer streaks. That's why you want to get more magnetism, more glow, more this, more that, more cars, more clothes, more money, more hoes. But I'm telling you right now, that's a bottomless pit. I can give you a bag of chips after a hard workout. You can eat all of that shit. Yet you'll still be hungry. Why? Because you got no nutrition. All these dopamine things don't truly nourish your soul. That's the thing that's starving. That's the thing that needs some fucking food. But you don't give it regular food. You don't give it dopamine. What you must give it is divine nectar. That's the diet of the soul. How do you get divine nectar? When you live in alignment to your dharma. What do I mean by that? When you release your attachment to all these different types of things through renunciation, through the right-hand path of self-mastery, and you attain the point of transcendence, aka where you reach the crown chakra, the sahasrara. You go beyond desires because you go beyond the brain and body. The brain and body desire things. And those desires can never be fulfilled. They're bottomless pits. It keeps you on the hamster wheel of hedonism. Doesn't matter how many days of SR that you're on. You're going to want more if you desire that. And you're going to have a psychotic mind. You're going to be borderline psychotic. Just like the people that are borderline psychotic when they need more cars, more clothes, more money, more hoes. Same thing, you're attached to it. But when you practice semen retention in the lens of the ancient disciplines and the spiritual path of self-mastery. You break free from desires because what you are doing is all those karmic ties are no longer there. Now your conscience can ascend to the point where there is nothing holding it down to the material plane. There's nothing wrong with the material plane. I'm not here like a rabbi, a priest, a sheikh, like all these Abrahamic religions to tell you the world is evil, you must repent, follow Christ, follow Allah, follow this and that. No, I think that's all for fucking cowards and losers anyways. What I'm telling you is when you master the self and you've gone beyond desires and you attain the state that they call in the yoga traditions, Toraya, fourth state of super consciousness. You're beyond desires, and what's left is your dharma. This is what your soul was brought here to do. This is what you have incarnated here on this realm to do. This is why you have incarnated from past lives, because you failed to accomplish that mission. You may have had wife, kids, cars, money, clothes in the past lives, but why are you still here? If that's all you were brought here to do, you would have been good. That's the dharma, that's the destiny of an animal, of a dog. A dog, an animal, is meant only to survive, have sex, and achieve status. If that's all you were brought here to do, you would have came here as an animal. I promise you that. Samsara, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is not stupid. It's smarter than you and it's smarter than me. If that was your destiny, you would have came here as an animal. But you're here on the human realm. Why is that? Because you got unfinished work, unfinished business. First of discovering that dharma and inevitably pursuing that, fulfilling that. How do you discover your dharma? Well, we just talked about renunciation, removing all attachments and desires to the material world so you go beyond desires. You access the state of Godhood. You access the Sahasrara. You ascend up the spine. This is what happens when you practice semen retention and celibacy. You generate prana, and that prana, that power, is helping you propel using other practices on top of semen retention to get your consciousness unstuck from those lower planes and climbing up to the higher faculties. Your dharma is already there. Your destiny is already there. You already know what you were brought here to do, but you forgot it because you're stuck in what I like to call a state of spiritual amnesia. Your consciousness is in a coma. It has forgotten its destiny, its duty, its dharma. You don't have to go looking for your dharma. You got to go within. I always bring up this analogy. Your dharma is like the sun. Your true self is like the sun. It's always there. Right now, not a fucking cloud in the sky. Beautiful day. I can see the sun right there, my boy. Right there. It's clear as day. Literally. No pun intended. But some days, a couple days ago, it was raining hard as fuck out here in Cali. I couldn't see the sun, but am I like thinking, oh man, we got to go find the sun. We lost the sun. No, I know it's there, but it's hidden by the clouds, the rain, the snow. That's your true self. It's up in the higher chakras, up in the higher planes. It's beyond the brain and body. It's beyond desires. But the things that are blocking you from able to see that is your karmas. Those are the clouds that you must wipe away. Not regular clouds, the karmic clouds. You are not going to be able to wipe off the sexual karmic clouds by over-obsessing about how many days you have been on SR streaks. How much semen you've restored in your nuts. Because you're doing that, don't fucking lie to me, to inevitably go release, to get the glow, to get the magnetism. When you break free from streaks, when you break free from this idea of, oh man, I'm so, magnetic, I got so much aura, everybody's looking at me. The moment that breaks is a moment where you start to look at semen retention in the lens of what I'm talking about. I've made that shift. Trust me, I was listening to these same dumbasses that you guys are probably listening to. Until I went to the ancient texts. You don't got to go to the ancient texts. I'm breaking it down for you. I'm breaking it down for you here. You don't got to do the work I did to understand, better yet, understand what the fuck this practice is about. You just got to go out there in the field, in the flesh, and actually experience it firsthand for yourself. But I'm giving y'all the breakdown. I'm giving y'all the rundown of what this practice is all about. The moment you let go of benefits, the moment you let go of streaks, the moment you stop viewing this as a transactional practice, if I do this, then I'll get a girlfriend. If I do that, then I'll get aura. If I do this, then I'll get... The moment you let go of that, the moment you stop obsessing about, oh man, it's been 10 days of semen retention, I probably got enough seminal fluid to go attract this and magnetize that and manifest that. The moment you let go of that and focus on the practice of releasing your consciousness from that bind, that state of bondage, is a moment that you'll start to see what the fuck I'm saying. You'll exactly see what I'm saying. And you will be ascending up the real path of not self-improvement, of self-mastery, because what awaits you at the top of that mountain is what we just talked about, your dharma, your destiny, the thing that you were designed to do, that you forgot. And the whole reason why you're addicted to dopamine is you have been fooled and tricked into believing that all you are is just a brain and body. So if all that you think that you are is just a brain and body, all that you are designed here to do is to simply satisfy the senses. You're brought here for something deeper, for something bigger, for something better. You cannot satisfy and nourish your soul with these pursuits of survival, sex, and status. They're not bad, they're not evil, but you were brought here for something deeper. You have to figure out, rediscover, remember what that is by disengaging yourself from all these desires that are distracting you from that divine purpose. None of these things are bad. Pornography, this, and that. They're just, think about it like this. You play a video game. One of my favorite video games of all time, probably top 2 aside from Zelda, is Skyrim. If you know, you know. I fucking love Skyrim. When you play Skyrim, there's a main mission for that character. That's its dharma. That's its destiny. You can't, quote unquote, beat the game until you beat the main mission. But there's so many fucking side quests that siphon your energy, siphon your attention, siphon away your focus from the main mission. Your dharma is that main mission, and you forgot what it is. And all these other things around you are making you forget. Pornography, chasing survival, sex, status, money, cars, clothes, hoes, biceps, bitches, Bugattis, all that shit. They're not bad, they're not evil. They're just, treat them like side quests. You're just distracting me, bro. You're just distracting me. Get the fuck out of my way. When you remove your attachment to all these side quests, now the path to your true mission starts to open up. And the deeper you go on it, the more closely you can see the mission. When you are hiking up a mountain, you see the flag at the top. The closer you get up on the mountain, the clearer that flag becomes. That flag, that thing at the top of the mountain is your dharma. So the more that you go on this path, the clear example of how you know you're making progress is that you start feeling that dharmic alignment. This is something that I cannot explain in words. It must be felt through first-hand experience. You can't just understand it. I need you to understand it. This ain't just knowledge that you get in the mind. I need you to access this gnosis which resides in the heart. These practices of semen retention, celibacy, are like saying no to the side quest and finally going over to the main mission. First, you have to figure out what that main mission is because you forgot it. And that's what awaits you at the top of that mountain. You realize the self and you realize who you are beyond the brain and body, and most importantly, what you were brought here to do, aka the path that will liberate you, bring the most fulfillment to you. That's what you've been looking for. You've been trying to beat the game of life from incarnation to incarnation by doing these side quests. You can't beat the game until you beat the main mission, bro. First, you got to figure out what the main mission is. Then you got to play it and beat the game. You can't beat the game. You can't nourish the soul. Beating the game in this sense is liberating the soul from the cycle of samsara, the wheel of reincarnation, the cycle of suffering. The ultimate goal of the soul is liberation. And the only way you can punch your one-way ticket to liberation is by living in alignment to your dharma and fulfilling it. That's what we are trying to access on the path of self-mastery. Not self-improvement, self-mastery. Semen retention is a huge part of this process. Celibacy is a big part of this process. That's why in brahmacharya they call it the path to divinity, the path to godhood. Guess what's in godhood? That higher chakra, that accessing that state of dharma where you tap into the state of godhood. What is a god? An entity beyond desires. You can access godhood. You can become a god, where you go beyond desires and be fully aligned to your dharma, to your divine duty, to your divine potential, aka access your divine essence. When you go beyond all these desires, which is done through renunciation. Semen retention and celibacy is a practice of renunciation. It is a part of the game, a part of the process. There's a lot of other shit involved within it, but that's what you're trying to do. That's what this path is all about. That's what this discipline is all about. Forget everything else everybody else told you about 90 days, 60 days, 100 days, whatever the fuck days that they say that this will come to you. It's not going to come to you because that's not what you want anymore. You should not be desiring more women, more magnets, and more of that. That shows that you're insecure. And you're insecure because you're not living in alignment to your dharma. That's what you should want. You should desire your dharma. That's the only desire worth having. And the way that you actually access that dharma is by mastering the self. This is exactly all the shit that we talk about over here on this channel, aka the Philosopher Files. Right here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these games. You dig what the fuck I'm saying? This is everything that we talk about over on the main channel. Matter of fact, if you haven't tapped into the main channel yet, you missing out, my boy. Because like I just said, that's the main channel. Y'all, some of y'all don't even know. This channel, aka the Philosopher Files, is the second channel. This is where we do all of our content in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these gains. No cuts, no edits, just straight up speaking off the dome. If you enjoy this style, the podcast style where we're talking like a one-on-one convo, like we on FaceTime, that's all that we got over here. All the content that we cook up over on this channel, my bad, is this style. But if you want to see another side of the coin, where we are still talking about these same types of topics, where we are still chopping up about these different types of concepts, we are still uncovering the esoteric science of self-mastery, but on a different lens, a different angle. That's what the main channel is all about, my boy, aka the Philosopher. Whenever you tap into a main channel video, just know you're in it for a cinematic experience with nice cuts, nice edits, quotes. We got guests within the podcast. We got spiritual text summaries. You basically watching a damn movie every time you tap in with the main channel. So if you have not seen any of the content over there, definitely tap in right here, right now, over to the main channel. You can find a link to it within the description box down below. Just click that link, subscribe to the main channel, get up on some motherfucking game so you ain't out here looking like a lame. You dig what I'm saying? Because you never know, man. Maybe you like the main channel more. Maybe you like this channel more. Maybe you just like both and you get the best of both worlds. This is two sides to the same coin where we are uncovering the esoteric science of self-mastery. So definitely tune in when you can by, again, clicking that link posted in the description box down below. But also, when you tap into the description box, you see another link under the link over to my main channel, which is forwarding you to my Instagram page. Look, man, if you ever want to talk about these different types of concepts, chop it up, shoot your boy a message on Instagram, slide in the DMs, pause. Because my messages are always open, I'll always respond. Do not be shy, shoot your boy a shot, shoot your boy a message, slide in the DMs, do all that stuff, man. Let's talk about these different types of things. Let's connect, and of course, follow me on there. Stay up to date with all the other types of content that we cooking up over on that channel, on that platform. You dig what I'm saying? But like I was saying, all the stuff that we talk about over here on this channel, aka the second channel, The Philosopher Files, over on the main channel, The Philosopher, everything that we talk about over on the private Patreon community. Matter of fact, we got to take a quick pause right here, right now, because I got to give a shout out to the fucking private Patreon community. Look, man, god damn, I didn't even notice how long I've been spitting up in here. Damn near an hour before we had this little pause. Majority of people at this point have already clicked off this video. Majority. But you still here. Why is that? Why is that? Because I'm guessing you resonate with the message. You're not just someone on the surface level of self-improvement, practicing semen retention for all these little benefits and these little stupid little games that people play. You're not doing the side quests anymore. You're trying to focus on your main mission, the thing that will bring you the most fulfillment in life. Is that right? Is that right? Because if that's not the case, you probably would have already clicked off by now. You're still here because you're like something I like to call a spiritual savage, a spiritual aspirant, a true devotee to this path of self-mastery. Write that down. That's a bar. You are not satisfied with just the surface level benefits of this practice. You're trying to aim for the ultimate. You're trying to aim for the absolute. You're trying to aim towards mastering the self to discover that Dharma. If you're one of those individuals that's on that path who is dedicated to mastering themselves, I'm gonna need you to just do me a quick favor right now. Find the closest mirror to you. I don't care if it's in the bathroom. I don't care if it's in the selfie camera of your phone. I don't care if it's somebody else's car window. Stare at that window, stare at them, make them uncomfortable. Because I need you to take a good, hard look in that mirror and really let that mental picture marinate into your mind and sink into your psyche. Come on, get a nice click-clack Kodak moment for yourself. That picture of that man that's staring right into your eyes, right into your soul, when you look into that mirror, I need you to take a good, hard analysis of it. Really let it marinate. Come on now, man. Because I need you, yes, you, to realize that you're doing that man that's staring right into your eyes and staring right into your soul when you look into that mirror a huge motherfucking disfavor by not joining up into the private Patreon community. You're not doing a disfavor to me. You're just doing a disfavor to him, which is you. Come on now, man. Put two and two together. Because look, if you're someone who's truly serious about this path and you enjoy these types of topics, these types of videos on this content, on this channel, over on the main channel, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, bro. Your mind is going to be blown with the information than the content that we're cooking up over on the private Patreon community. I'm talking about exclusive videos uncovering this esoteric science of self-mastery to a level that you've never seen. You ain't gonna find it on this channel, the main channel, matter of fact, anywhere else on the internet, because it's a real deal game. Real deal sauce for your motherfucking brain to help you elevate on every single plane. You dig what I'm saying? Not only do you get access to this treasure trove of exclusive content by joining up as a member of the private Patreon community, but also access to our full guides, our in-depth occult lectures, our digital libraries, and most importantly, an invitation to the Philosopher's Circle. Yes, sir, you heard me right. The Philosopher's Circle, not the Philosopher's Circle, the motherfucking Philosopher's Circle, aka our private inner circle community, where you'll be joined into a group chat surrounded by a group of like-minded men who are also walking up this path of self-mastery, who are also side by side with you on that mountain, who are using practices like semen retention in the way it was intended to be, to what? Discover their Dharma. Not for the benefits, not for the little fucking side quests. They're using it to access their main mission in life. And once they found it, they go and fucking finish it. If you want to be surrounded with individuals like that, we're going to hold you accountable to the path, who want to see you elevate and inevitably want to see you what? Liberate? I'm telling you, man, the Philosopher's Circle is the place for you, my guy. But it ain't just a group chat, because this is also where we host our bi-weekly Mastermind live calls. Yes, sir, you heard me right. Bi-weekly Mastermind live calls where you hop in a live call with me, as well as this community of like-minded men who are also on this path of self-mastery, where we can talk about all these different types of concepts, where you can get personalized guidance, where you can be held accountable, and most importantly, just be surrounded with individuals that are about this life, real spiritual savages. Because look, man, you've probably all heard the saying that you're the sum of the 5 people that you're hanging around most with. That's 100% fact, no cap in that rap. You got to realize that, hey, if I'm hanging around with 5 slaves to the system, to the matrix, and that are not pursuing their Dharma, it don't even matter if they practice semen retention. They're stuck in this state of, oh man, how many days am I on this and that? You're going to be the 6th person over obsessing and getting a fucking borderline psychotic breakdown every time you relapse. If you are not trying to do that shit, you got to be surrounded with the community that's not on that type of timing, that's on the real path towards their Dharma, which you can find, again, within the Philosopher's Circle, my guy. I can 100% guarantee you it's the place for you if you're one of these individuals that have made it this far into the video, like 100% guarantee. But if you need any more information about the Philosopher's Circle and the private Patreon community as a whole, check out the link posted in the pinned comment of this video, not the description box. Again, description box is where you'll find a link to my main channel, The Philosopher, as well as my Instagram. I'm talking about the pinned comments video down below. Go in the comment section, you'll see it's the first comment by me. Click that link that you see within that comment, you'll be forwarded to our page, and from there, you can join up as a member of the Philosopher's Circle, and also check out the other services that I provide, such as application forms for my personalized coaching program. If you're someone who's truly serious about this path, that is looking to work directly with me, mano a mano, man to man, to help guide you up this mountain of self-mastery, renounce all the degenerate attachments, the karmas, dissolve all those karmas to discover your dharma. This is what this coaching program is all about, because what we're going to do is curate a personalized approach for you using the esoteric science of self-mastery to renounce and remove all the baggage in the way, all those clouds that is blocking you from the thing that you were really brought here to do, who you were really brought here to become, the path that will bring you the most fulfillment in life, by reclaiming back your power and inevitably realizing your potential through renunciation and through the right-hand path of self-mastery. So if you're interested in that and taking your life to the next motherfucking level, my boy, this coaching program is the program for you. I can 100% guarantee that too as well. But to get accepted, shoot your boy an application and we'll see if your entry meets the qualifications and criteria for the coaching program itself. But also, if you just want to book a one-time call with your boy, discuss anything that you're dealing with to help you get back on the right track, that's what we got our consultation calls to as well. You can book it by checking out that link, again, posting the pin comment this video. Just click that, you'll be forwarded to our page, and from there you can pick and choose whether it's joining up into the Philosopher's Circle, applying to the coaching program, booking a consultation call. It don't matter what it is. From there, you can pick and choose which one of these services best suits you. You dig what I'm saying? So definitely run it up, my boy. But like I was saying, all this stuff that we talk about here on this channel, on the main channel, especially on the private Patreon community, and especially within my personalized coaching program, is all about taking back the power. Taking back the power to inevitably realize your potential. Reclaiming back your power, that's better yet. So you can remember your potential. Who you've been designed by the divine to be. It's not about how many days. It's not about how much semen you got stored up. That shit don't matter until you are actually pursuing the path of your dharma. Because none of this shit will fulfill you. None of this shit. You're yearning for your dharma, yearning for your destiny. It is what you're naturally brought here to do. You put a bird in a cage, it's gonna yearn to fly forever. Doesn't matter how much treats and candy you give it. Doesn't matter how many of those side quests it does. If it's in that cage, it's going to remain depressed, anxious. It's going to remain disconnected from its dharma, from its duty. And you also have to realize this. If you take all the birds in the world and put them in cage, guess what? Not only are they not fulfilled, but the ecosystem of nature itself falls apart. You have to realize that your dharma, whether that's becoming an entrepreneur, a musician, an artist, a doctor, I don't know what your dharma is. Your dad doesn't, your mom doesn't, nobody knows it but you. This is a type of knowledge that is referred to as gnosis, which is only accessed from within. Nobody can tell you what your dharma is. So don't look at me and be like, hey bro, what's my dharma? I'm not here to give you what your dharma is. The people that I work with, I'm not here to tell them what their dharma is. I'm here to tell you what I do know for damn sure, which is not your dharma. What I do know for damn sure is how to dissolve your karmas. Because if you remove those clouds that are blocking the sun is right there. Right? That's all you got to do. You got to remove those attachments, those karmas, from all those compulsions through practices like semen retention, and inevitably with other practices on top of that, you'll be able to see your dharma right there, clear as day. Clear as day. You don't have to find your purpose. You just forgot it. You just forgot it. And your mind is being consumed by all these different types of side quests. So when you remove them, finally you can hear the voice of God within, giving you the directions on how to navigate this cosmic terrain that we call life, that will lead you to the most state of fulfillment and, most importantly, liberation. I don't know what your dharma is. Nobody knows what your dharma is. Nobody but you. But what I do know for damn sure, again, is how to dissolve those karmas. No amount of anything will fulfill you other than this dharma. And you have to realize, when you don't fulfill your dharma, the world in itself starts to fall apart. This is a note that you are designed to play that nobody else can play within the cosmic symphony of life. When that note is off beat and you ain't playing your part, the whole song sounds like shit. Don't be that one motherfucker out there who's like not playing your part, bro. Most people will never realize what dharma is, but now you do. Now you do. There's no excuse. I always say this to people that are watching this channel, in specific the second channel, where I'm out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping you all that game so you guys can make these games. You dig what the fuck I'm saying? Just straight up speaking off the dome, no cuts and no edits. You guys are in the 1 percentile of the population that is not suffering from the modern disease of brain rot. Most people can't watch a video for this long. Again, most people already clicked off this video way long ago. Why are you still here? I know I'm entertaining. I know I look good, but come on now, man. You just didn't, you ain't out here watching an hour of me yap in the fucking forest because you don't resonate with the message. You resonate with the motherfucking message. Most people cannot grasp the level of density within these topics that we discuss over here. But you can, and that's there for a reason. I don't know how, I don't know why. Maybe the past life that you had put yourself in a better position within this incarnation to actually punch in your one-way ticket to spiritual liberation. Some of the karmas you dissolve in the past life, whatever it is. But you have to realize that now, since you have this information, now that you have this knowledge, you must apply the knowledge. Because like I said, man, you can just circle right back into watching another guy's video talking about 90 days, man, I got all these goals around me, this, and that, and just lose the ground that we've established here. Knowledge ain't enough, bro. Knowledge ain't enough. You need to turn that knowledge into gnosis. Going from the head to the heart. From understanding to understanding, which is done through first-hand experience. You must let go of streaks. You must let go of how many days, this, and that, and the benefits. You must let go of all that shit. All of that shit. And use this as a practice again to pursue your dharma, to figure out your dharma. That is the only goal. By, again, overriding those compulsions, burning those karmas, now you got the prana, now you got the power, and now you can propel your consciousness to that transcendent point where you're beyond desires and where you can go beyond who you are just past the brain and body. You can access what you were really brought here to do, aside from just satisfying the senses. You can find what's going to bring you the most fulfillment in life. Your destiny, your motherfucking duty. You must walk that path yourself. I can't do it for you. You can watch the next video, the next video, and the next video, and get more and more knowledge, which is great. But until you actually apply that knowledge, it don't mean shit. People in self-improvement that watch video after video after video, read book after book after book when it comes to self-help, and then never apply that shit, are called mental masturbators. Well, I'm calling you, yes, you motherfucker, a spiritual masturbator. If you're doing the same thing on this stuff, instead of self-improvement, you're doing with self-mastery. It don't make a difference if you don't apply this knowledge. Over-obsessing about your streaks, about how much semen you've retained, is borderline psychotic behavior. Doesn't mean that the practice itself is bad. Your approach is just retarded. When you shift your approach towards the Dharma, you let go of the benefits and you're just renouncing to overcome that compulsion, you'll see what I'm saying. You'll pick up what the fuck I'm putting down. And by no means is this an easy thing to do. By no means. This is why very few people actually live in alignment to their Dharma. But, hey bro, you made it this far into the video. You resonate with the message. Remember, it's the message. What I'm saying has already been said and done. I'm not recreating the wheel. My Dharma, my destiny, for the time being, is to revive this ancient wisdom, revive this ancient knowledge, and make it more practical for the modern day man to apply into his life to find his Dharma. I'm the Dharma doctor out here. That's my destiny. That's my duty. All this stuff has been said and done. The divine knowledge, this divine blueprint has been laid out for us by the ascended masters of the past. My job is just to make it more practical. Your job is to apply it. I'm applied in my own life and I feel it firsthand. I have that first-hand experience. That's why I can talk for so fucking long. And yeah, you can hear the conviction in my voice because I'm devoted to this path. I'm devoted to what Dharma really represents. And these practices of self-mastery is what inevitably leads you there. I don't care about how many days I do semen retention. If I'm not accessing my Dharma, it don't mean shit. Might as well just go watch some fucking porn and just drown in hedonism. The Dharma is what you're looking for. And I'm telling you right now, semen retention and self-mastery is a part of the process. It's part of the puzzle, but it ain't the whole thing. When you focus your approach in that manner, shit will change out differently. And if you don't believe me, hey man, like I just said, what I've been talking about has already been said and done. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 9. There is nothing new under the sun. Go read the ancient text. But most importantly, apply it and see for yourself. See for yourself. Because again, this path ain't easy. But look, bro, I understand the struggles. But if you have not tapped into the Art of Retention ebook yet, written by yours truly, you're missing out, bro. You're missing out on the main channel. You're missing out on the Patreon. You're missing out on the Philosopher's Circle. You're missing out on the fucking coaching program, the consultation calls. Now the goddamn ebook. Come on now, bro. Come on now, bro. This is the best ebook out there about this whole topic that is produced in a way to initiate you into this path of how to use semen retention as a practice rather than a self-improvement habit. Rather than just, oh, I'm just going to hold my nut. No, you have to do other practices along that. Yes. To actually, again, harness energy and propel it. That's the whole point. It's not just, oh man, I have all this stored up fucking semen in my nuts. I'm good to go. My Dharma's here. No, you have to actually use that prana now to ascend your consciousness. Now you got the energy. Now you get the velocity, the voltage. It's your turn to plug it in to the right practices that actually allows your consciousness to shift to the higher planes. So this ebook, again, this ebook is for the free 99. Yes, you heard me right. Free, not three, free 99 for the free ski, my boy. So there's no excuse on why you haven't gotten it yet. If you just figured out about it now, okay, man, I understand. But right now, to go get your free copy of the ebook today, at this very moment, go on the main channel, again, description box down below. Matter of fact, just go in the YouTube search bar. Type in how to succeed on semen retention. You'll find a video right there that's from the main channel, The Philosopher. Click that video, and the video goes in depth and in detail to all the tools, tips, and techniques you need to succeed on this path with this practice on how to actually make it formulated in a way to where it allows you to achieve your Dharma. And in that video, you'll also get the instructions of how to download your free copy of the Art of Retention ebook as well. And the ebook goes even more in depth and more in detail than the video itself. And look, man, if you got ADHD, you're retarded, you can't motherfucking read, look, your boy's got you covered. Because there's a whole audio series of the Art of Retention ebook over on the main channel. Again, The Philosopher, description box down below. Click that link, you'll be forwarded to our page, and from there, click the playlist section, and you'll see it right there in front of you. The Art of Retention audio series. Pop it in while you're walking, while you're driving, while you're working, while you're doing whatever, and get up on some motherfucking game. So you're out here looking like a lame, like these people who are having fucking borderline psychotic behavior disorders because they're over obsessing about how much semen that they stored up in their nuts. Pathetic. Don't be one of those losers. If you made it this far into the video, don't be one of those losers. Those losers got triggered far earlier into the video and clicked off. But if you're here, it's time to actually ascend. And look, if you need further guidance, you're trying to get more advanced on this path of self-mastery, not just semen retention. That's what we got the Philosopher's Circle for. That's what we got the personalized coaching program for. That's what we got the consultation calls for. There is no excuse. You got the content here on the main channel, the Patreon, the ebook, the consultation calls, the coaching program. You have no excuse. Again, if you want to tap into the more advanced stuff, link in the pinned comments video. Click that. Tap into the Philosopher's Circle with us. Get up on all that sauce, all that game that you ain't gonna find anywhere but there. Tap into the personalized coaching program. Let's work one-on-one to actually help you ascend up this mountain, to get to your Dharma using practices like semen retention, not just focus on how many days. Let's book a consultation call. There's no excuse. It's time for you to get out there and produce. Again, I don't need you to understand. I need you to understand what the fuck this is all about. Semen retention is a powerful practice. But when you over obsess and you view it in the angles of self-improvement, the surface level, and you over obsess about how much semen you retain and how many days you haven't busted a nut, you're gonna have borderline psychotic issues. Don't end up like that. Achieve your dharma, master the self, using practice like semen retention, using practices like celibacy, but have the aim towards the main mission, not the side quest. Let's end it off right there. It's been your boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping you all the games. You guys can make these gains. I'm out of here. Peace.